Welcome back to your number one stop for PSO2, a new Genesis information, how-to, gameplay, and news. And today, we are here to discuss a update we finally got to Summoner Luthor, or whatever the gunblade quack going to be inside of new Genesis, thanks to a very recent interview over on Dengeki. So, we are going to be covering all that, and if you find this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, make sure you do thumbs up, subscribe, hit all the bells, and let's get to it, shall we? Like always, I will have a link down in the description below where you can read over the interview for yourself, since this is a very in-depth review that obviously I'm going to be making a whole bunch of videos about. But with that one, we are specifically going to be focusing on some comments that were spoken in the interview when it comes to literally Luthor and Summoner. So let's start with the question at hand. Can you tell us about the progress of upcoming Summoner class? And the response here is, in the NGS, a pre-launch update, we mentioned the release of the class in spring of 2022 or later, but current schedule for the release in the second half of 2022, which honestly makes perfect sense here, since we haven't seen Summoner listed in the roadmap at all, at least for 2022, so it makes sense here. So it looks like we are looking at a end of the year release for Summoner, as we given a priority to increase the overall content volume, which honestly makes sense, since honestly you probably need to have a little bit more stuff built into the game itself before actually adding on more classes, so we don't get ourselves a situation such as like Braver and Bouncer. Well, let's be honest, they were kind of tedious at the level, so honestly waiting for more content is probably ideal here, and to put content above, actual classes here. The class will be quite different from Summoner class and Bait PSO2, which I think we all kind of have figured as well here. But we do got a little bit of a follow-up here with, of course, well, exactly the classes are setting right now. With does it mean both classes are still currently in the planning stages? And the response here is the work on Summoner seems to be progressing fairly well, and seem that there will not be, big thing, there will not be a pet weighing element as it had in PSO2, which honestly kind of start begging the question here, exactly what is Summoner going to end up being then? Because the whole, like, micromanaging your pets and raising them up, leveling them up, was like a huge part of that class. And with it staying as of now, that not being a part of Summoner, I'm a little confused on what exactly Summoner going to have here. Beyond what? Maybe something along the lines of doing like a quest chain to get Monto. Or maybe, now thinking about it, might be the better version here. It did not really look at Summoner as a Summoner class, but maybe something like a Beat Master. It probably might be a little more like relevant to this. Since, raising your pets and whatnot, honestly, would kind of like sidestep that whole minigame if you just capture, monsters and enemies inside of New Genesis that will already have like levels and stats tied to them. And maybe just one of them cases, then you start like hunting down like higher level and rarity versions of the enemies. And we do always have like a rarity system in play with the whole gold and silver enemies. So maybe they're going to be going that route. Either way it goes, it seems odd not having it, but I guess we will see if it does work like a Beat Master. But I'm very much getting a Beat Master vibe from that. But nonetheless, let's continue here. As far as Gunblade, a wheeling class, they seem to still be deciding on the name. Who knows if it's going to be Luthor? Let's be honest, probably just going to be Luthor still. And then moving on from that is all they'll plan to add other classes here. And that data, I believe they want to focus on adding those two classes first, making all weapon category in PSO2 accessible again before thinking about the new classes. Which honestly sounds like a good thing in a lot of ways, because like, between Luthor and Summoner, there is a handful of stuff, like weapon armor-wise, that just not really that useful right now in New Genesis. So it makes sense I want to focus on the two classes specific. But from the vibe I'm getting here about the classes, it's seeming like with Summoner being at end of the year, maybe early 23 at most, and then Luthor or whatever the gunplay class, it's probably going to be the end of 2023 into 2024. I guess it would make sense that, we probably won't be getting any new classes anytime soon. Probably the best way to look at it, like the way it's seeming anyway, outside of Seminole and the Gunblade, is probably going to be like 2025 at the earliest for any other classes, which I get kind of lines up with the updates that have been happening as of now, and especially with every 6 months having actual new like environment coming in here. So in return, we technically won't be fully done with like what would be, I get technically the base game to the end of 2023. So that means a Luther, Gunboy, whatever might end up being a class that will be added, and whatever the net expansion afterward might be leaving the planet or going somewhere else. So yeah, it kind of seemed like we are probably going to be looking at probably one new class every year to year and a half. Keep that in mind, but at least as of now, it does look like Seminole will be coming forth to the game. And I honestly can't wait as a Seminole player. Any obviously, it's not going to be anything like it was in bait PSO2. And with that, that is pretty much everything we got from the interview when it coming to Seminole and Luther. And like I said, the biggest thing to probably come out of this is honestly not having pets. I know they technically have talked about that in the past of changing around the pet stuff. But it really sounds like now pets are just gone. So let me know in the comment below what you think Seminole gonna be now. Are you with me? Is it gonna be more of you capturing enemies and other random creatures in the wild and having a fight for you? Or do you think we're gonna be going something totally out there that gonna have nothing to do with any of that? Let me know in the comment below on that one. And while you are down there, make sure you do the thumbs up, subscribe, hit all the bells if you haven't already, and of course hit that wonderful join button, or come on over to patreon.com/Macon to become like all the wonderful folks here. And with that, that will go ahead and do it for me, and I will go ahead and see you all in the comments.